What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is the last video I'll do tonight. But of course, I'm going to talk about a lot of other stuff that happened last night. Of course, Jokic's 60-point game. We'll talk about other stuff tomorrow, some other things that I get a chance to talk about today. A lot of content coming up tomorrow. So, Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors dropped 52 points tonight in a 134-125 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. It was the 15th career 50-point game of Steph Curry's career, which puts him now one ahead of LeBron James, who has 14 in the history of the league. So salute to Steph Curry. As a matter of fact, this is the 10th 50-point performance of Steph Curry's career since he's turned 30. That's the most in the history of the NBA. Second most is Wilt Chamberlain, who had 7 such performances after turning 30. So that's kind of a asterisk type thing, though, because when you look at Michael Jordan, right, he turned 30 February 14th, 1993, right? So when you look at it, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had a 50-point game in Charlotte after that. I'm trying to remember the timing of that, but let's go with that. Then, of course, he had, because they're not including the playoffs, he had 2 50-point games in the playoffs, one against the Knicks, one against the Suns. That's 3. Then he had a 50-point game against the Knicks when he came back, 4. Then he had a 50-point game against the Pistons, 5. Then he had a 50-point game against the Bullets in the playoffs in 97. That's 6. And then he had a 50-point game against the Heat, 7 in the regular season. Then the Knicks again, 51. That's 8. So, I mean, whatever. I didn't want to just drone on and on about that, but, you know, I know they mean regular season. So that's what I want to say about this game. So Steph Curry had 52 points. He had 10 rebounds. He had 8 assists. He had 5 steals. He was 16 of 31 from the floor, 12 of 20 from three-point range, 8 of 8 from the line. This 15th career 50-point game pushes him past Rick Barry, who had 14 such performances with the Golden State Warriors. So he's number 1 all-time with that franchise as far as 50-point games. This was also the 4th time in Steph Curry's career that he's made at least 12 three-pointers. That pushes him ahead of his former teammate, Klay Thompson, for number 1 all-time for most games with at least 12 three-pointers. And tonight, he also passed Jerry West on the all-time scoring list. So that's a remarkable achievement. Jerry West, of course, scored 25,192 points in 14 years in the NBA. So salute to Steph Curry for that accomplishment. And anything else I want to talk about? That might be it. But, you know, Jimmy Butler had 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Draymond Green had a triple-double, 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. And John Morant, of course, I'm going to do a video later on about the idiotic thing that he did. You just can't take the, well, this ain't the format to say it. So, you know, I'm going to talk about this on my Patreon. But come on, man. Like, with all the stuff that you've gone through, why do that? Why? What is wrong with you, bro? But, you know, it's starting to come out now that Ja Morant might have had something to do with Taylor Jenkins getting fired, which to me just seems very stupid. Because honestly, I didn't see any reason why Taylor Jenkins should lose his job anyway. But usually, that's how it works, though. It's like the good coaches who really are actually trying to bring stability and structure to a team, they don't mesh well with, idiots. Idiots and spoiled brats. We saw that with Nate McMillan in Atlanta, and I'm suspecting we're seeing this with the Memphis Grizzlies. But, it is what it is. I already saw that an NBA insider said that they don't think that the Grizzlies they think that they might as well move Ja Morant because they said, like, look, is Ja Morant a good player? Yeah. Is Ja Morant type player that can lead a franchise to a championship? Nope. Plus, he stays injured. He's injury prone. So I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis did trade him. I would not be surprised if Memphis traded Ja Morant. Because I don't see him as the type of player that you can win a championship with. I know people are like, well, is Memphis really championship bound? But I mean, no, but look, man, another thing too, with all of the BS that goes down in Memphis, you know what I'm saying? Especially a lot of high profile events that's been in the news as of recent. Do you really want to do that exemplifies that ignorant shit as a star? I'm gonna tell you something too. Now it could be just because of the fact that he just didn't have the ability to play like at the level he wanted to. But I find it kind of interesting that Derrick Rose, who was brought into Memphis to be a mentor to Ja Morant, abruptly retired. I think that kind of is telling in his own self. Anyway, salute to Steph Curry, another 50-point game. The legend continues. And in my opinion, man, I'm going to have to say it, man. I think he's the second greatest point guard of all time, man. Sorry, Oscar. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.